Hey everyone, welcome back to the shop. Recently over at the Simple Design of Ocala Facebook page, I got contacted by a young viewer by the name of Ryan DeLucky. And Ryan had asked me if I would be willing to donate a badge case or a display case to him in order for him to display his grandfather's picture, ribbon, and badge from when his grandfather was with the fire department. After talking with Ryan for a while and getting to know him and everything, I had absolutely no problem doing that, and I came up with this Shadowbox. Now in return, Ryan is a pretty creative little wood burner, and he has kindly made a small plaque for me, and he wood burned the stallion that is in my logo, and here's a picture of that. It came out really well. Now that picture was before he had put the coats of finish and everything on it. It looks great. So in turn, basically we're bartering. I got the plaque and he's getting the display case. But let me take you through the steps of making this shadow box. Okay, first let me show you what's going inside of this shadow box that I'm making for Ryan. I picked up one of these small American flags that come on these little flagpoles, and I'm going to be taking it off of the flagpole and properly folding the flag in its proper formation for a folded flag. And we'll do that in just a minute. I'll set this aside. The shadow box is going to have some maple and some walnut. The walnut is going to be the main frame, and the maple I'm going to use for an accent on the splines, as well as for a trivet that I'm going to show you in just a minute. I'm going to embed a trivet inside of some of this maple. I also picked up some felt paper. I've got some red and I've got some black. And some 1/4-inch poster board for the backing for all of this. The felt will be adhered to that. Inside of the shadow box, Ryan is going to be displaying his grandfather's photo, as well as a fire department badge that's in the shape of a belt clip, and a ribbon that was his grandfather's. So those are going to go in there. Along with that will be this trivet that I picked up, fire department trivet, and we're going to embed this into some maple and make a nice maple frame around it, and that'll sit in there. And I have this fire department clock, and the clock is set at 9/11 in honor of the firefighters who lost their lives during the 9/11 tragedy. I wanted to take a minute to show you another method that I use for straight edging some of my boards. Now 90% of my boards that I get are rough sawn lumber, and I have to plane them down and everything. And I don't have a joiner in the shop. I think you guys know that by now. I've mentioned that quite a few times. So I do a lot of workarounds, and I'll either do joining on my router table or on my table saw when the need arises. But when I get these boards and they have the rough edges on them, and I need a straight edge, a reference edge to put up against my table saw finish, you know, to rip the other side so I can get a nice uniform board. One thing that I like to do is I like to take a straight edge, and this is an aluminum straight edge. It's a guide for you know, like skill saws or what have you. It can be picked up at a home store. And I don't know if you can see that, but I have double-sided tape on one side of it. And what that allows me to do is on my board, I can lay out what I need to take off so I can get a nice uniform edge. And with that on there, I have a flush trim bit with a bearing. This has 2 bearings on the top, a double bearing. And I have it raised to where the bearing will run across this straight edge guide. And simply I just run it through the router, and I'm going to show you how that's done. Alright, I got all the parts for the Shadowbox cut, and before I can glue anything together or finish processing them, they're cut to rough size right now. But what I need to do is I need to put a stop mortise in one of the side pieces for the firefighter clock to sit on. And how I'm going to do that is with a palm router, and I'm just going to cut out that mortise for the shelf to fit into. Alright, now with that done, all of my parts are ready to go ahead and be processed, and we're going to go over to the table saw. We're going to cut a rabbet on each of the sides of the box for the back of the box. Okay, we're going to start with the larger side of the frame, and what I've got is all of the pieces here. I went ahead and sanded everything to 220, up to 220. And now what I want to do is I want to take the frame pieces where the glass is going to sit and the sides of the box, and I'm going to glue them in this L shape. And I'm going to gang these up into a set of clamps, and I'm going to do both of the sides at the same time, and then also the top and bottom. Alright, I got everything in clamps and glued up, and we'll give it a few minutes, and then we'll go back and clean up some of that squeeze out, and then we'll take it over to the table saw, get the miters cut in, and get the frame assembled and get that glued up. Then we'll start working on the interior of the Shadowbox. I like Shadowboxes. I think they're pretty cool. You can do a lot of different things with them. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to make another Shadowbox. It's going to be quite larger, and it's going to display a t-shirt, one of the Whirligig War Survivor t-shirts to commemorate the first annual Whirligig Wars. And I thought this would be a great project to show you guys on making a Shadowbox while I'm in the process of filming the larger video project, which is the walnut piano bench. And as soon as I get that wrapped up, I'll get that video out to you, or videos out to you. It's a little bit longer, more detailed series, but I thought in the meantime I'd show you this neat little project, making a Shadowbox, show you the design, and you know. Okay, with all of the pieces glued up the way I want them, with a little face frame glued onto the side frame of each piece. Now I'm going to go over to the router table, and I'm going to take a round over bit, and I'm going to round over this outer edge of this smaller piece of wood here, because this is where the glass sits. and I want it to round over into the glass of this Shadowbox. Now you can also chamfer this so it chamfers into the glass, but I'm going to round over. I give it, to me it's a little nice flower look. So now that I have this piece rounded over here by passing it through the 1/2 inch round over bit, I want to go ahead over to the table saw, and where these two pieces are glued together, I want to remove this edge here at a 45-degree angle so the sides transition into that round over. I'm going to pass the rest of the boards through the round over bit, get all the edges rounded over such as this one, and we'll get ready to move over to the table saw. It's a little out of tune, but it'll play okay. Now I've got it glued up, and it's going to take a little bit. Once it gets dry, we'll get it out of these clamps, get it cleaned up, and then we'll start working on the inside. Okay guys, what I did is I went ahead and cut some slots into all 4 corners of the box for these thin strips of maple to fit in and get glued in. So we'll get those glued in, and then we'll turn this thing over, get the shelf put in here, the little floating shelf that's going to come out for the clock to sit on, and start working on the way we're going to glaze the glass in here so the glass doesn't move, but it will be removable in case something happens, the glass cracks or it needs to be replaced, what have you. We'll be able to remove it. From there we can go ahead and put the back with the felt on it and get everything attached to the back that's going to get hot glued or however I set it up, and we'll look at the setup here in just a minute. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and get the splines glued in. Okay, with those glued into place, we'll let that sit for a little bit, get them trimmed up, and then we'll start working on the inside. As I keep saying, eventually we're going to get to the inside. But seriously, it's almost done. We're going to glaze the glass in so the glass will be able to be removed versus, you know, cutting. That's why I didn't cut rabbets on the back side or anything for the glass to be glued in with the frame. I want the glass to be able to be removed in case something were to ever happen, the glass crack during transportation, whatever. It can be removed and replaced with no problem. So we'll get to work on that next. I thought while the splines were drying, I would show you what I'm going to do with this trivet. Now what I plan to do is taking this piece of maple and routing out a recess for this trivet to recess into, sort of like an inlay, and then we'll cut this down to size, this board down to size, and I'm thinking about trimming it with some walnut trim. So let's get this recess cut in and get this trivet glued in here. What I'm going to do, I've already marked out where the outline for this trivet is, and I'm just going to score and cut those fibers of that wood while I'm routing. That way I don't have to worry about any type of chip out or anything like that. Alright, everything, all the splines are in, and I'm in the process of cleaning this up. What you want is that I'll back this off so that doesn't blur, is that the seam between the face frame and the side is virtually gone, invisible. I'll show you the side that I haven't started cleaning yet. It just transitions right into the other. Okay, taking a look at where we're at now. The frame for the Shadowbox is all complete and it's sanded and ready for its finish. It's going to get finished on the inside and the out. But before I put the finish on, I want to go ahead and get my backer board sized, my interior 1/4 inch foam board, and my felt, get it all sized and situated, and then the glass and the glazing strips. Once I get everything how I know it's going to fit right and do well, then I'll go ahead and take it apart, finish everything completely, and then do its final assembly. At any Lowe's or any hardware store or anything, you can have them cut the glass for you to size, and I went ahead and I had them cut the glass, and I had them cut the glass about an 1/8 inch shy on both the length and the width directions. And then I have my backer board piece, and as you can see, what I've done is I've taken my felt and I've glued it to the foam board just using a simple 3M all-purpose adhesive. And then I took that foam board and adhered it to the backer board, the 1/4 inch backer board. And what I want is on the frame, the inside dimension is the size that my foam board is getting cut, or got cut, as well as the felt. And on the outside dimension where this rabbet is the dimensions for the backer board. And that leaves about 3/8 of an inch lip all the way around. So that way, when this goes in and gets screwed into place, everything will fit nice and tight on the inside. So that's done. What I want to do now is the glass. And if you recall, on this box, after we glued everything together, we cut off this 45 on all 4 pieces of the frame. Well, taking those cutoffs, those little triangle diamond cutoffs, or half a diamond triangle cutoffs, I went ahead and cut them into about 4 or 5 inch lengths. And I've drilled a hole and countersunk it so the screw will sit flat in there. And what these pieces are going to do is they're going to sit right in on this lip, and they're going to hold the glass down, and then they'll get screwed into the sides here, and it'll act as a glazing strip to hold that glass in place. So now, if you remember that trivet that I was making the frame for, I told you I was going to recess. I cut a recess in there for the trivet to sit on, and I went ahead and edge banded it with some walnut, and then again with another piece of maple to give it a nice decorative touch. And then the trivet is going to be glued or epoxied right into that. Alright, well, everything is glued into place. I just got to glue in the little flag, and I decided to put it down here towards the bottom, and that way he can have this whole upper area for his photo and the badges and everything. So all we need to do is a little hot glue. Hold it there for about 20 seconds and it will be good to go. There we go. Alright everyone, that wraps up the shadow box. Now up here on the back part of the canvas in this blank area, Ryan will be able to attach his grandfather's picture, his ribbon, and his grandfather's fire department badge. And then this is ready to hang on the wall, or he can set it up on a shelf or a nightstand or something, a mantle. But all in all, I think it came out well. I hope that Ryan likes it and enjoys it. And I hope you enjoyed the build. I really enjoyed making it. I thought it was pretty fun, and I'm glad you could join along with me. Be sure to check out my Facebook page at www.facebook.com/ASimpleDesignOfOcala, or stop by the website at www.AsimpleDesignOfOcala.com. See you soon.